morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to take a look at a couple of new Tera EXs that have been revealed for, well, Future Flash and Ancient Raw over in Japan. But of course, we know that that is going to translate to Paradox Rift over here. One of these is pretty cool, and one of these is a very big deal. So let's start off with that one. We've got Toxtricity EX, which is a Tera Pokemon and a fighting type. This is a very, very big deal. I expect this to be a very good card that sees a bunch of play. We'll get to all the attacks in a minute, but one of the big things about Tera Pokemon, Tera EXs, is that they have a different type. That's kind of the whole gimmick. But really what it means is you can play a Pokemon in your deck without playing a different kind of energy that allows you to hit a different weakness. Now, when Obsidian Flames came around, I told you about Ice Cube. I'm a big fan of Ice Cube. Yes, I revealed the card in English, and yes, that makes me incredibly biased, but actually, Baxcalibur decks right now are playing a bunch of water energy in a way to accelerate it. And you can accelerate that energy to an Ice Cube, and all of a sudden you've got a Fire type as a basic Pokemon in your water type deck. And to be fair, at the moment, it's not really seeing much play in Baxcalibur decks. But that's because Metal Pokemon and Grass Pokemon, the types for which you would hit with weakness with Ice Cube, it does not see a huge amount of play. But if we see Metal or Grass decks suddenly take a big uptick in play, you are going to see Ice Cube be popped into these Baxcalibur decks, because why would you not? It's a one-card tech that would completely swing the matchup. It's a pretty gosh darn big deal. Well, here, you've got a Lightning Pokemon which turns into a fighting Pokemon. And the fact that you evolve from Toxel, who is a lightning type, is actually a very, very, very big deal here. Because it means that you can use Miraidon, which obviously your lightning deck's going to be based around. You can use Miraidon to go and get your Toxel in the early game. That's a very, very, very big deal. It means that you're not going to be mucking about, worried about how to actually get it, because you're going to be able to search it out with Miraidon. You'll still have to go and find your Stage 1 Toxtricity, but your basic will be fine. It also means that you can use Electric Generator, because one of the problems with Electric Generator, of course, is that it only accelerates lightning energy to benched lightning Pokemon. As soon as you evolve up into Toxtricity, you're a fighting Pokemon and Electric Generator goes away. You can't use it anymore. But you can use it to accelerate onto a Toxel and then evolve up into Toxtricity, and that's a very big deal. Obviously, if you're using Flaffy, which a lot of decks will be, but, not turn 1, then yeah, that can accelerate energy to anything and you're fine. But turn 1 or 2, when you've not got your Flaffy out, and you want to be accelerating energy, you can accelerate using Electric Generator to your Toxel before you evolve up, and that is a very, very, very big deal indeed. So, yes, you are a fighting Pokemon that can be used in Lightning decks, that's good, but the Lightning support you want will work with Toxel, which is brilliant. There is an argument here, this is actually better as a Stage 1 than as a basic, because you have those two options available. There's obviously a counter argument here, that you have to evolve up, and you have to find the Stage 1, and blah, 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 and, Toxel is a little bit of a target, especially if you attach energy to it. Get all of that, just saying there are advantages. Now, as for the attacks here, the first one is not great. 70 damage, discard the top card of your opponent's deck for 2 energy. I should mention I did the translations for these all myself. I did check with Antoine Boulet, the lovely person. However, I did do them myself, and I want that on the record. But this is fine. It's not good, it's not great, it's fine. I do like the idea that if your opponent ever ends up with 1 card left in their deck, you can mill it and win the game instantly. I like the fact that if your opponent's got 3 cards left in deck and they need their last energy to win, this will give you a 1 in 3 chance of hitting that energy and winning the game. Far from perfect, don't love the amount of damage you're doing, but it's fine for a bit of emergency mill. But free energy, 270, discard free lightning energy from your Pokemon in play. Now, the wording here is actually sneaky awesome, because it's a free energy attack that makes you discard free energy, but you can discard it from your bench Pokemon, which is actually awesome here because of Flaffy. Because remember, Flaffy only accelerates to bench Pokemon. And generally what you're going to do here, a lot of these Lightning decks aim for 2 Flaffy on the field, so you discard free energy, and then Flaffy 2 of them back, attach for turn, you're ready to go the next turn. Well, if you had to discard from Toxtricity, then you have to get to the bench to use Flaffy onto it and then get it back in the active. Here, you can discard from your bench Pokemon, then get them right back with Flaffy, and that's really good. But mostly here, you're hitting weakness. And to be fair, 270 is already a lot. So you're going to be getting a lot of basic and stage 1 EXs, you're going to be getting pretty much all Pokemon V, etc. I get that. But there's going to be things that are weak, like Arceus, for instance. I have 280. And fine, admittedly, you're only doing an extra 10 damage with weakness, because you're doing 270, they've got 280. But you know what? Firstly, it means that you're not having to muck about here. You don't need to find a way to do that extra 10 damage. But secondly, if your opponent's finding a way to reduce the amount of damage done, who cares? You are just massively, massively rolling through this. No issues whatsoever. I absolutely love it. Of course, as well as Arceus, very good, sees a bunch of play, extremely relevant, we've also got Iron Hands. And Iron Hands is going to be a big deal. We've talked about this a lot. It's a great, 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 great card. It's phenomenal. Well, good news, ladies and gentlemen. You are going to smash Iron Hands. And it's going to be fantastic. And look, Iron Hands has 230 HP, so you'll be getting them anyway. But my point here is, if they're taking away their weakness, you're KOing them anyway. If they're, for instance, going for, I don't know, Bravery Charm to go up from 230 to 280, well, now you're actually hitting 540, so no matter how much they're reducing damage by, you're still absolutely smashing them. This is phenomenal against Iron Hands, because basically whatever they might do to go, ha, now I'm just out of range, Toxtricity's like, nah, mate. Nah, you're really not. Not even close. I adore this, because firstly, being able to hit 270 for free energy on a lightning Pokemon is really good. It's 50 more than you hit with Miraidon, which is very relevant. And sure, you have to discard, but if you're hitting Flaffy, that's not a big deal. And also, it's still a huge amount of damage. But the weakness you're hitting here is great. And because you're hitting really playable Pokemon like Arceus, like Iron Hands, if they're mucking about trying to reduce damage, increase HP, etc., you're hitting so much damage to them that it's really not going to matter. I'm giving this between 4 and 5 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. And honestly, I might be underrating this a little bit. I think this card is like legitimately phenomenal. And yes, it's a stage 1. But that is literally the only downside, and like I've said, the fact that it's a fighting Pokemon is great. The fact that it evolves from a lightning Pokemon actually gives you serious advantages. I just think this is phenomenal. And if I'm playing Miraidon decks in the future, and I very much like playing Miraidon decks, I can see this seeing a bunch of play. I'm certainly going to be testing it. I think this is great. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Serena, little bit less. And here's the thing, right? I actually like Serena. I think Serena's really good. I just think Serena's a stage 2. Though that's not really opinion so much as an objective fact. Serena is a stage 2. And the fact that Serena is a stage 2 is a little bit of a problem because it means it's a pain to get out. We've seen this with stage 2s for a while. Stage 2s have a very high bar to cross in order to be playable. That does not mean they won't be playable. Not for a second. It means that you have to work a little bit harder and you have to go to more effort to get them out, and that becomes a little bit of a pain, alright? I've told you, I've acknowledged it, there we go. But the attacks here are really good. We've got 310 HP as a water Pokemon. Water's not a terribly relevant weakness to be hitting right now. There's not really a huge amount of fire out there doing really well, but it's out there. But the weakness isn't really relevant. The good thing about Serena is single water energy. Put damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon until it has 30 HP remaining. Now, you ain't going to one-hit KO anything with this. Pretty much by definition, you're 2-hit KOing. That's kind of the point. What you are doing is bringing, like, everything into range of basically anything. So, you're actually 10 away from being able to use Yoga Loop. There are other ways to do it. But I just want it on the record that you're actually a tiny bit away from using Yoga Loop. Yoga Loop only does 20, which is actually really kind of annoying. So, sorry about that. Boo, etc. But yeah, Yogaloot's not quite going to work. You know what is going to work? Greedent. Greedent will work, ladies and gentlemen. And remember, Greedent takes extra prizes. Greedent is kind of amazing for taking extra prizes. It's the VMAX, of course, I'm talking about. 2 energy. If you KO a basic Pokemon, take 2 more prizes. Okay, fine, it only works against a basic, but basically take any basic Pokemon down here to low enough HP and then get the KO with Greedent. That sounds kind of fun, ladies and gentlemen. That sounds kind of fun. Or you can take a bench Pokemon down to 30 HP and then use Toy Catcher. It's an item that's automatic gusting, but it only works on a Pokemon with 50 HP or less remaining. Oh, wait. That'll totally be the case here. It's a little bit awkward, and it is a stage 2. I understand all of this. But the fact of the matter is, you bring your opponent down to 30 HP remaining, and then because we've got stuff like Greedent and Toy Catcher, etc., you can actually make this work quite nicely. And all you need to do is combine this with like a Hawlucha, and then all of a sudden, Yogaloop works as well. I admit that is a little bit more awkward. But it could be done. There are ways to get that extra 1 damage counter on like Hawlucha that will work. And I kind of like this, honestly, ladies and gentlemen. I think this could be really, really fun. As for the second attack, we got 2 energy, and you do 180 damage, healing 30, and all special conditions. It's fine. Like, if you want a reliable attack that does a bit of damage, this is a reliable attack that will do a bit of damage. But more than 1 energy on a stage 2 and I'm only doing 180? I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. That one seems a little bit low for my liking. Healing special conditions is nice, but healing 30 is a lot of the time going to be borderline irrelevant. There will be times, don't get me wrong, but there will be other times where your opponent's just 2-hit KOing you or 1-hit KOing you anyway. So it's fine, but it's not the reason I like the card. I like the first attack. I just think you've got to work it with dumb combos. You know, this will work quite nicely in a Meowscarada deck, for instance. Because you bring them down to 30 HP remaining, Meowscarada drops 3 damage counters, boom, KO. Won't help if you're trying to set up Yogaloop, annoyingly, but it will at least just get that KO. And it's not a 1-hit KO because it's over 2 turns, but it is a 1-attack KO. So, you know, not terrible, ladies and gentlemen. I'm giving it 3 Wassies because I think it's cool, but it's begging for dumb combos. And there we go. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this. I want to know which of these 2 cards you like the most. I want to know anything you want to tell me, so let me know in the comment section. Get us! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie. That's where we talk Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Matt DS, who's been a supporter of ours for a long time now and seems to be a very lovely person indeed. So shout out to them for both the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.